Hey, Play Cousins, and welcome to Madame Desiu, Cooking Healthy with the Ancestors. I'm Nalinia Davis Desiu, and we are going to cook some healthy meals today. I'm super excited to introduce my first guest, Afi Patterson, who is an entertainment attorney here in Los Angeles. Hi, Afi.
How are you?
So good, yes.
Play cousin from the homeland.
Exactly. So Afi and I have known each other since the 8th grade, and we individually came to Los Angeles, kind of not really remembering each other, but reconnecting subsequently. And we have the best conversations over the best food. And so Afi is also an entertainment attorney, and she is the owner of Black Women Daily, which is an amazing website.
Yeah, it's an archive on extraordinary Black women.
Very excited to have you here with us today.
Thank you.
All right, so the gals from Baton Rouge are gonna cook collard greens and jambalaya, but in a very healthy way. It doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to know that, you know, once you get to a certain age, you really have to be self-conscious about the things that you're ingesting in your body. And so some of the more traditional recipes that we know and love, that sustain us and have gotten us through some really hard times, probably not the most healthy for us. So today we're gonna explore some healthy options. But before we get into that, I would like to pour out a libation because we are cooking with the ancestors, right? So the pouring of libations is actually an ancient practice, an ancient African practice, and it's to honor the people who are no longer with us, who are very special to us, who had a hand in making us, and they may not have known us, we weren't born yet, but they had a hand in creating us and making us who we are. So I just wanna pour out a libation, thank you, to the ancestors. All right, let's get started. We're not gonna start on this just yet. We're gonna put it off to the side. We're gonna put it off to the side and get to chopping. All right, so generally, we've got collard greens, and what you would usually put in collard greens are ham hock, smoked pork neck bones, bacon, all of the greasy things, and you put it together with some really yummy, like bacon grease, right?
It's a lot of bacon.
I know, it's a lot of bacon. Okay, but that was my grandmother, my personal favorite human who ever existed. Unfortunately, she is no longer with us, but that is the ancestor, my granddoll. So I'm gonna make granddoll's greasy greens greaseless today. Let's hop into it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a trinity, right? So in Louisiana, they call the trinity because there are 3 main ingredients. And this is the substance of, like the basis of every Louisiana dish. If you want that wonderful Creole Cajun flavor, you're gonna use a bell pepper, you're gonna use celery, and you're gonna use onion, right? Okay, so some people take it a little bit farther and they will add garlic.
My mama does that, yeah.
And green onions, and they call that the Pope.
Really?
They call that the Pope. I don't know why, but they do.
Okay.
Okay, if you want to be a little more snooty about it, maybe you can use a couple of shallots instead of onions, because I find that shallots give like a more rounded flavor when it comes to blending all of these savory items.
I don't know things. Would it be an umami flavor? I don't know. Okay.
It's more like, it's an oniony flavor, but it's like onions lesser cousin. It's not as intense, but it gives a nice little refined flavor. Okay, awesome. So instead of all that bacon grease, you guys, we are going to use avocado oil. So avocado oil is just as healthy as olive oil, but it has a much higher smoke point, right? So when you're talking about smoke points, we're talking about how fast something will burn.
Okay.
Right? So that's why you don't fry fish in olive oil.
Or butter, right?
Or butter, exactly. So we're gonna chop up these ingredients, create our trinity, and then we are going to slide them in our pot and get started. Also, we've got smoked turkey here, okay? So instead of the ham hock, instead of the pork neck bones, we're gonna use smoked turkey because that imparts a great deal of smoky flavor and it gives that just homemade wonderfulness that we all
I love a
enjoy.
turkey leg.
Yeah.
So do you remember the festivals in Baton Rouge?
Yes.
You could get a smoked turkey leg, like a giant one.
People would just walk around with them like Henry VIII.
Yes. I did as an 8-year-old.
The thing was probably bigger than you at that
It
point.
was. I made it through.
So awesome. All right, so let's get this started. All right, I'm gonna cut the edges off of this because who wants to eat roots? Not me. Food. So I'm gonna do a quick little coarse chop here, and I'm not gonna make a lot today.
Your chopping game is incredible.
Yeah, you know, that's for right now. I just really pray every day that I don't chop off a finger.
Okay, so who did Grandal teach you how to chop, or did you kind of like learn on your own?
I just kind of learned on my own because that's actually the most cathartic part of my day is just coming home from a long day's work, arguing with agents and attorneys. And I have this incredibly sharp device in my hand and it allows me to chop and turn my brain off. Chopping, as cathartic as it is.
My very own board. Oh my God.
Yes, and your very own knife.
Oh my good.
I know, right? All right, I will have you chop this and then take 3 toes of garlic, right? 3 toes of garlic.
Pinky toes or big toes?
Just big toes. We like big toes because big toes make big flavor. Okay, so we're also gonna use 2 ribs of celery. So usually when you see recipes, it's like 2 stalks. I don't really like stalks because to me, this looks like a stalk, right?
Right.
So I prefer to say 2 ribs of celery.
You're such a chef. So I've got toes, one body part.
Toes
Ribs.
and
another
ribs.
body part.
I mean,
What is this?
it's a bell pepper.
Okay.
It's a bell pepper. A lot of experts talk the huge benefits of eating kale. However, when you actually do the research, collard greens are an excellent source of vitamins and minerals. And so it's actually quite comparable to kale. So if you're not dousing it in a bunch of really greasy stuff, collard greens are an excellent source of nutrition if you're trying to stay healthy.
So how long do you do your collard greens? Because I know some people will be like, oh, they need to be on the stove for like an hour or even 2 hours. Some people like them mushy.
Yes.
Some people like them hearty, al dente. Like, what do you do?
Well, for me, it just kind of depends on my day. It depends on how much time I have in the day. If I really want to do it right and I want to honor my ancestors the right way, I'll put it on low and slow. Sometimes I'll start by even just putting the turkey on with a little bit of broth and a little bit of oil and just let it slow cook before I put everything else in. And then sometimes when I'm in a hurry, I'm a true, child of convenience. If I'm a true child of convenience, I'm just gonna put all of it in at the same time and put it on medium and let it cook through. But the best way is the slow way.
Okay.
I think everyone will agree on that one. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by putting this turkey, it's like a turkey drumette, on to cook. Yes, awesome. I'm going to also, I'm using 34% less sodium, so I'm gonna basically start boiling it in this broth, and then this is the chicken, and I'm gonna do equal parts beef broth, okay? So we're gonna put this on low and slow, let it cook. So I'm super excited about this jambalaya, Afi. I don't know if you've ever bothered to do any kind of research about jambalaya, but it has African origins. And I've also found that there are a lot of cultures that do a derivative of jambalaya and they call it different things. So some African countries, there's jollof rice. In Spain, there's paella. Did you know that the Moors occupied Spain for like several centuries?
I was rabbit holing that last night. Andalusia? I was looking up Andalusia last night for whatever reason.
So during those several centuries of occupation, you know, a lot of the dishes turn out the same. And so jambalaya has a really rich heritage and it is widely celebrated throughout the world as a universally delicious dish. And the way that it went down in Louisiana, the French gave us tomatoes, New Orleans, and then the rest of it came from Africa and Native Americans that are in the area. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of this Trinity, put it in to make the greens because we love flavor. Gonna pop that in there. Once your toes are ready, you can pop that in. I'm gonna put the greens in. And it looks like, you know, there's a lot of greens, but there really isn't. Once you start packing them down, they get a lot smaller.
Okay, do I just sprinkle them in?
Yeah, just put them in there. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add some onion powder. Okay. I am going to add some garlic powder, and these are also very common staples that you will see in soul food and Louisiana food. And then I'm gonna add some Creole seasoning zero salt from my homeboy in Baton Rouge. He's got a really good thing going down there. And then there's no salt. Don't worry, our heads aren't gonna explode. So I'm gonna put that, there's just a bunch of seasonings, okay?
So do you cook by recipe or just your soul?
You know what? I just cook with my soul.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I will, you know, before I actually get up for the day, I'll think about what I want to eat, and sometimes I'll just compare a few recipes. And then sometimes I combine them. Sometimes I go rogue and just do my own thing and say, oh, that was a nice idea, or just whatever. Whatever I feel like doing that particular day. So our greens are on and they're about to be really good in about 45 minutes.
Perfect.
All right, let's start on this jambalaya. Finally, yes?
Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo.
I love that song. I love that song. Okay, so usually with jambalaya, I would add a smoked ham called tasso.
Yes.
You heard of tasso, right? Tasso makes everything great.
My eyes lit up.
There are a few brands who have like turkey tasso, and if I had any with me, you know, I would be dropping it in there because it's also really good to put in with red beans and rice as well.
Yes.
Yes.
In Louisiana, we do red beans on Monday, every Monday.
Yes, we do. And do you know why we do that?
It has something to do with workers.
Laundry, honey.
There you go.
Laundry. It's about the laundry. So with red beans, they're super easy to make. So you soak them the night before. And then when you're done, when you wake up in the morning, you actually put them on. You put in the Trinity. There's a couple meats you put in there, and then you just let it go all day with the broth. And probably about 3 hours later, you've got some really yummy stuff. Okay, so we're gonna start off the jambalaya with sausage, chicken, and shrimp. Now, I've cut the shrimp up a little bit because they were a little large, so they're like little shrimp bits. Okay, so we've got some turkey sausage here, and then we've got some chicken sausage. If you can help me cut these up, that's gonna be the first thing to go in the pot after our oil that we've already got heating up on the stove. So, you know, I really feel close to my ancestors when I make meals like this because, you know, we're kind of going through some of the same struggles that they had to fight while they were our age. And it's really unfortunate that we're having to do this again. But thankfully, we've got some healthier options that we can substitute, right?
You know, and healthier options and just the knowledge, you know, I think about the ability we have, like when we need to go to the doctor, get our blood pressure checked, get our cholesterol checked, immediately, it went rogue, just immediately find ways to eat better and, you know, prep our food better and, you know, proportion our food better. So, you know, we're just blessed. That's why I really liked earlier when you took a moment, the libations to the ancestors, because but for them, there wouldn't be us, you know, but for their sacrifices, we wouldn't be here. So
you know
I love that.
I'm so glad you said that. A friend of mine this morning sent me a reel, and it discussed why, and it might be one of the reasons why African Americans love our seasoning. We love our seasoning, right?
We're spicy people.
We are spicy people, and there's a saying: if you're not sneezing, it's not seasoned, right? You heard that,
yes.
right? Okay, so he sent me this reel, and the reel basically said that during slavery, you know, the masters would give the slaves rotten meat. Right? And so, of course, salt is a preservative, and sure, it preserved, but you can't do that. It's still rotten meat, right? So they got to be really creative with the way that they seasoned the meat in order to make it palatable and in order for it to taste good and to smell good. And so I feel like we're maybe still in the pattern of over seasoning things sometimes. Sure, I love flavor, but sometimes we can back up off the salt. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we can substitute other things for salt. Yeah. But before we do that, I'm gonna pour this sausage in here and let it start rendering fat so that we can put in the Trinity afterwards. All right, so we've got this delicious turkey and chicken sausage just browning up really nice over here. And you said you wanted to sneak a peek, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's see what's going on in there.
Oh, it's cooking down.
Isn't that pretty?
It's so vibrant, like
right?
Colors.
Now, if I was doing a Brazilian collard green situation, I would stop at that color.
So that's like an al dente, right?
It's like an al dente.
Yeah. Okay.
On top. That flavor is just gonna permeate each other. It's gonna be a wonderful marriage, right? And it's also gonna taste so much better in the morning once the flavors have the opportunity to marry, okay?
It's like a quad marriage, though.
A quad marriage, yes. All right, so I'm gonna put in some chicken. Now, normally my grandmother would bake a whole separate chicken before it got to this point. She would debone it, but I don't have time for that. So I'm going to use rotisserie chicken that's already been skinned and boned.
Beautiful. Okay, but would your grandmother make you go to the yard and get the chicken?
No,
That's what my grandmother would have done.
Not that country. Okay.
Home of Louisiana, my grandmother would have told me to go and get a chicken.
Wow.
Pick one out.
The next steps, what we're gonna do is we're gonna season all of this up. Normally, I put a little bit of stewed tomatoes.
Oh, you use tomatoes?
Yes, just a little bit. It's not gonna be a red jambalaya. Yeah. So there's two different types of jambalaya. There's brown jambalaya, which is the Cajun jambalaya, yes. And there's the red jambalaya, which is the Creole jambalaya.
I grew up on the brown.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, but when we go to New Orleans, it's red.
We do the red, yeah.
Yeah, we call that tourist jambalaya sometimes. Can you pass me the celery seed?
Yes.
So remember when I was cutting up the ribs of celery? This celery seed, it's kind of potent, so I use it sparingly, but it just kind of emphasizes the celery flavor of the Trinity. Sure.
Oh, wow.
Right? This is very celery. Okay, we'll get some onion powder and garlic powder over there. Okay. Okay. Onion powder and a little thyme. Yes. Okay. And then we'll do the no salt Creole seasoning. Yes. We want to pop that in there. All right, so just like with the greens, we are going to have beef broth and chicken broth. Both of them are reduced sodium, so our hearts don't explode. And here's the chicken. We'll just let that just simmer for a while. The next step after this is we're gonna put in our rice. All right, so before we put the rice in, we're gonna put this shrimp in here. I had it marinating in some crawfish boil. I cheated a little bit, and so that's gonna have that really good boiled seafood flavor and put it all up and through this dish.
Oh, I smell it.
Yes, you can smell it. And I think we've got a couple bay leaves just to enhance the flavor. So I'm gonna put about 2 cups of uncooked rice, washed rice. Please wash your rice, guys, so it doesn't come out super gummy. And then we are gonna stir this around a bit more.
Does the type of rice matter? Like, does it have to be like jasmine or a burro?
Whatever you have in a pinch works great. I'm actually using low GI rice. So there is parish rice in Louisiana, which is, it's part of the LSU program. There's a special variety of rice that they use that has a lower GI glycemic index. So it's really good for seniors. It's really good for athletes, people trying to lose weight.
Diabetics?
Diabetics, absolutely, because the glycemic index is super low, right? All right, so all of the ingredients are in the pan. What we're gonna do is let it come to a boil. And then once it comes to a boil, we'll turn it super down, low, and then we'll be eating in like 20 or 30 minutes.
I can't wait.
Okay. All right, now that this has been melding together for about 30 minutes or so, we are going to eat. All right, get some of this yummy jambalaya in here. Wonderful. These flavors have married together and we are going to feast.
Not for me.
Yes for you, ma'am, yes for you. It does not get much better than this, y'all.
It is so gorgeous. Oh.
Even though we substituted some of the main ingredients with healthier options, this is some of my best work.
It smells so good. It smells
Thank
so
you.
rich.
All right, Offie, this is the moment of truth. Look at this jambalaya, you guys. It smells so good in here.
Steamy.
It smells like a Creole grandmother's house up in here right now. All right.
I see why you needed that bay leaf.
Right? Brings out the flavor. Okay, so let's see. This is some of my best work.
What they say in don't say go.
It's so good. It's really good. It's really good. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Can I have a hug, please?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thanks so much, Offie.
Cheers, darling.
Cheers to the ancestors.
Yes.
And healthy cooking.
Amen. Delicious.
And this has been Madame Daciu, Cooking Healthy with the Ancestors. Thank you so much for joining us, Offie. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.